Hey everybody, welcome back to the CAF Plus channel. As Robert Berman just said, what up, arty people? He knows how to get these these shows started properly with a catchphrase. Thank you for that, Robert. And of course, everybody in the chat for warming things up before we got things started tonight. So yes, the Saint is going to be joining us this evening, and he's got some packages to open. We've got a lot of art to look at. You can imagine the theme of a lot of the artwork that we're going to be looking at today. But let me bring Ian in and get this thing started. Hey, Ian.
Hey, Bill. How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. Camera's working for me. It was me that was slowing everything down today, everybody. Just so you know, I hadn't rebooted my computer in about 5 or 6 days, so it's never a good thing. But yes, welcome to the show, Ian. So you've been in the chat for a long time, and of course, you've been sharing your collection on CAF for quite a while. So it's kind of a long overdue, hangout with you here on the show. So I apologize for that, but we're making amends for that with 2 hours dedicated to just you this evening.
That's awesome. Thank you for having me on.
No, hey, it is our pleasure. But one of the things, and a lot of people, well, I don't know, you may have spilled the beans and everything, but you are the new record holder on picking up mystery sketches, for a single Comic Art Live event. It was surprising. You didn't buy them all at once; they kind of trickled through. So part of it was part of the reason why I reached out to talk to you, because I was like, there seems to be a method to the approach here. You didn't buy 10 at a time or 5 at a time. The numbers weren't always the same, and I thought there's a story in here somewhere, and so I thought it would be fun to finally get you on here and then talk a little bit about Mystery Sketch, because I believe you have participated in Mystery Sketch before this round, right?
Yeah, definitely. This is the first time I got sketch cards, I think, though. I'm pretty sure
Okay.
it's this. I was usually getting the 9x12s. So
Okay, right, exactly. We didn't start the sketch cards till May, but yeah. So this time around, it was a sketch card focus. And do you remember the total count that you picked up this time around?
I think it's 57.
57.
So, yeah, 57 in total.
So there you go. That's quite a bit. Alberto, I think, maybe had held a record previous to that, but yeah, definitely you have shattered that record with the number of purchases. Dang, says number one Marvel fan, or oh my, says Peter. But so, like I mentioned, though, it wasn't like you bought all 57 at one time, and it wasn't even like they were bought all in a couple-day window. It was definitely staggered with intervals of more and then less. So do you mind sharing, what was the thought process going into picking up that many, and the characters that you ended up choosing?
Well, at first I was buying just a couple for some friends, and then all of a sudden I was like, well, what if I frame something up from a piece from each one of my friends, and kind of that I met throughout my time while collecting. And so I started trying to go through people's galleries that I've been hanging out with, and that's influenced me.
Mm-hmm.
And I started, finding things that kind of influenced them a little bit. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to have something representing the friends that I got. So I started small, and then I found a big 50 card holding frames, and then it just kept on. It was like, oh, maybe I could do a 30, but no, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. And I was like, yep, let's just go all the way for the 51. And so there's this frame that I found that it looks like it holds it. It's got museum glass to it, and it's all supposed to be nice and framed for it. Sadly, it's coming from Europe, so found the shipping out after I picked it up. But,
Oh wow! But it's meant for the format and everything. It's perfect.
Yeah, it should fit these cards perfectly. Yeah, I did the measurements on it, and so it should fit them perfectly. And there's little sleeves, and then it should sit in all 50 of my friends' galleries will basically be shown. But the cooler part is it's my friends' galleries from artists from that are all around that I've been looking at everybody's art for years now. So it's going to be nice to kind of see different pieces from different things. And I'm not good at looking the chats, but hi to everyone, man.
No, they're just all in amazement. Marcus wanted to know if it was all sketch cards, and yes, it was all sketch cards. But again, 57 sketch cards is still like you just said, you had to come up with a unique way to present them all because they're all important. I mean, we're talking. So these were based on friends, on CAF, and I guess maybe their inclinations as collectors. So if it was for Nick Barucci, it might be the Submariner or Daredevil or something like that. Or if it's James Siegel, it's any X-Men babe in a swimsuit, or stuff like that. If it was Casper, it would be MODOK. I mean, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, you saw that MODOK coming through.
Well, I can't. I guess maybe
I
there
don't
was.
know. Maybe there's another one. Yeah.
There were so many. But yes, James does equal that. I see, James. I know you very well too. If I were to ever kind of partake in something, but that's kind of cool. I mean, at the end of the day, it talks. It's definitely a testament to what CAF and the hobby has been for you, I guess, right? I mean, that you have so many friends, and you realize. I mean, it's a good thing you don't have any more friends. If you would have had double that, that would have been 100 sketch cards.
There's definitely more friends. And I was like, oh man, I could do this again. I was like, oh,
there you go. Well, that's not a bad idea. You could go, this is the Cal 12, set, and then you could go for a Cal 13. And no, that's very cool. I mean, I hope that when you get them all in and framed, that you're able to, I don't know, use that, share it on CAF. Certainly, I'm sure you post it on your socials, but we want to see exactly what what it ended up looking like. So Dan Goodwin, who has bought a few sketch cards in his time as well, was curious which of the 57 were you most excited, or are you most excited to see how they turned out?
Honestly, to tell you the truth, I didn't even think of it that way. I just wanted to see all of them.
The quantity.
I just wanted to see them all put together. I liked the fact that Newell was looking at it the other day, and he was like, "Wait, somebody else got a stingray?" I was like, "Yeah, that's kind of me over here."
See, I didn't even. That's funny. I mean, I honestly, God, I didn't even think about it like that. But yeah, that makes perfect sense. Why someone else got one? It was you. Yeah. So there you go, Newell. That's mystery solved right there. He's still recovering, he says. But so we were going to unbox some of the mystery sketches that you got, because last week when I did the unboxing, I know that there were some in there, and I turned those around pretty quickly. It looked like when you were holding up one of the packages, it looked like one of the ones I sent you. But how many cards do you think you've received so far? Because I assume you haven't opened them all up yet.
4 packages. That's all I know yet. That's okay. All I know yet. So
well, why don't we crack into them before we dive into the interview, because I think everybody loves a good unboxing.
So I tried pre-opening, and again, I didn't open good enough. So let's kind of finish this up here. And I really don't want to cut through all this.
Now I see, you do have the Guardians of the Galaxy gear. You got the hat on, and you've got you've got a Groot behind you. You've got but you have a Star Wars poster as well in the background.
That was from my Hollywood video days, actually. That's got Willy Wonka on the back of it. So that was the Hollywood video poster when I was working there. I ended up picking that up. So that was kind of a cool thing. You can take some posters as you go. Or actually, sorry, that one was Blockbuster, because I actually worked for both. So,
and are those some tiki cups up there too?
Yeah, somebody just found those in Oregon for me. So I was like, yeah, pick those up, definitely. It's like the whole set. I definitely want those. And so, yeah, it was really nice. He came back with that one. Oh, yeah, look at the first one I got right here.
What is the first one?
And there you go. That one's Bill's right there.
That one came out awesome. Shoot.
That one did come out awesome. That looks amazing.
I mean, you can understand why that was one of my favorite ones from the set that I got to preview. But that turned out great.
Yeah, that did turn out good. Yeah, so that's that one. Let's see if I can open a couple more of these quick. This one looks like open quicker. All right, and we got a She-Hulk.
Right that's George Hodge, right?
Yeah, that was George's page. Yeah, or sketch card, excuse me. Oh, and then we'll keep going through. There's little stickers in there too, which is kind of cool.
That first one was Chris Anderson's as well, I think.
Yep. Yep. I have Chris, different last name on there, but I don't know if
Oh, Chris Foreman. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Darn it. I'm sorry. Yeah, Chris Anderson is a different artist you might have gotten one from.
I think
Alberto,
so.
we're not starting over. Alberto thinks the world waits for him because he's on the West Coast, but you're on the West Coast, right?
I am definitely on the West Coast. Yeah, yeah, not too far from Alberta.
Yeah, I think this is the one. I think I overtaped this one.
Well, right here, this one was because of Kevin Sharp's love for.
Mm.
He loves
That one came out really good. Obviously, um, yeah. Wow, that's
really
super nice. That one was Mr. Tony Perna's piece.
And then, all right. And then I think a couple of us know that one right there.
And I forget the character out there though. Who was the character?
That's Dr. Afra. And so,
That's right.
Mr. Weddings. That's his one of his gallery ones. He's collected a lot of them.
Well, number one Marvel fan says you got the best cards.
Oh man, we got a Venom. Just kind of start flipping through some of them. Death of the Endless. That one was a really cool one too.
I like that one too.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff's in the chat. There we go. Oh, James says we should be guessing the CAF collector before you say it. Green Lantern. James Siegel says death was Matt Kennedy. Okay.
Yeah, that was it.
Well, there's only one Wonder effing woman.
Yep. Yes, Derek got that one for that last one. Yep, James got it.
There you go. Starfire.
Where's Cat? I don't have all of them yet, so we'll see. We'll see as things come, but there is a Cap somewhere in there. Yes.
Yeah, I've got another DHL coming in from Jiggy with the balance of all of his, and I think there's probably about 50 sketch cards and 50 9x12s in it. So there's probably more coming your way, Ian.
No.
Now I wonder, Unstoppable should be a juggernaut, I would guess, but you never know. So who's this next package from?
I think this one was Tim Colin.
Oh, sweet. I saw Tim was in the chat.
Yeah, there's a couple in here.
Tim packs things very well. You get everything in a very nice case.
Yeah, they're all cased and everything. They're fancy. Thank you, Tim. That's really awesome. Let's see. Oh wow. That was cool. I saw that one.
Oh yeah. Look at that. That's incredible.
That's a great one. Pick that one up. That's an awesome one.
And you guys can keep guessing in the chat, of course. We had a Wolverine and a Black Panther and and the Mars Attacks. Oh, that's awesome.
They're definitely amazing cards. That's going to be awesome seeing all these up. I want to say thank you to all the artists that did that. That's really awesome. I really appreciate it.
That's a good haul. And you're just getting started. I don't even know if we saw 20 there. So you have 37 more incoming.
Yeah.
So I know that Marquet was out of the country. It's in Singapore for 2 weeks. So you probably have some coming from him. And I know that we just saw a bunch from Tatiana, so you probably got a bunch coming from her, and then the next package that we get from Jiggy's team. So yeah, that should round things out pretty well.
Yeah. It'll be awesome to see them all together. So.
Exactly.
And thank you everyone for being, helping me in this fun hobby. I mean, it's been a great pastime. That's all I can say.
Well, I'm with you there, and I don't think we've seen anybody take it to that kind of level, right? To recognize all their friends and everything. But that's awesome. Really, that's really cool. But it does put you on a path of the more friends you have, the more sketch cards you're gonna have to get. Now, didn't think to ask, but did you have sketch cards in your collection before this round of Cal? I mean, had you picked up any at OAX or any any other show that you've gone to?
I got a Cerberus at OAX. I got a Kazra. I got a Kazra one sitting somewhere.
Oh, you do? Well, that counts.
Yeah, it counts. And then I got some Hembecks up there. They're sitting up at the top in I don't know if you can see them in the boxes, but they're sitting way up there. They're probably the lighting's a little too rough.
So you picked up a few from Hembeck on eBay?
Yeah, and they were given out. I think when Jeff was raising money for Zyla back then, I was picking some up, and that Mannix one was back. I think also when we were raising money for Zyla, so
that's right.
Picking up a couple different ones. So.
Yes, no one spreads goodwill like Jeff Wedding does. That is for certain. Yeah. Well, cool. Oops, sorry. I thought I turned all my sound off, but I left one out. So, well, I can't wait to see the all 57 of them framed and on the wall. Yeah. And that's going to be pretty spectacular. But hopefully they all arrive before Christmas, as I would imagine they will. I'll make sure that when I get everything unboxed here, that I turn mine around. They'll be in the mail Friday morning, so we can guarantee you get them early. Ian is the VP of Mystery Sketch Cards. Okay, we can give him that title, temporary title, until the end of the year, Marcus. And then we'll see what happens in 2026. But it's awesome. I mean, like you just said, the hobby has given a lot of us a lot of things to be thankful for. We're coming out of Thanksgiving and going into Christmas, and I certainly think about all these things too, especially when you start, just thinking about your friends and everything. And I completely agree. I think my life would not be the same without having been a part of this community. That's for sure. I've made almost all my best friends are from OA collecting, and that's not saying anything against the friends I had before that, but they weren't as numerous or definitely we didn't share this as much as we do with the fellow collectors. So let's dive into our chat here, Ian. Because I know very little about you. I mean, we're friends on Facebook, so I get to, kind of peek into your life, from time to time. But as far as art collecting, I mean, when did you get started collecting original comic book art?
I don't know. It's kind of a trick question for me because in 2017, I had an artist at San Diego Comic-Con do some commissions for my daughter. And so that, I guess technically that's my first, but it wasn't for me. I think it was 2019 or 20 that I ended up picking up my first piece, which was a Spider-Man piece by Mike Rotera over off Ramita Man's website. So that was my first piece that I did. About 2019, 20, I think, was when I first started collecting for myself.
So just before the pandemic started, or thereabouts?
Yeah, so maybe a little bit. I think it was a little bit before that, but yeah, I am Groot there. I am Groot, Alberto.
There we go, Alberto. He pushes people. He does. But I threw the link in the chat for Ian's CAF Gallery for those of you who aren't familiar with it and maybe aren't watching it and following his updates. But so what prompted you to do the first pieces? Though you said you bought them as for your kids, but what was did you go there with that as a plan, or is it something that was just kind of impromptu while you were there?
I was collecting comic books, I guess, around that time, and so I was in the middle of reading Disney Princesses to my daughter, and I ended up like searching out the artist from the Disney Princesses comic book, which was I think Amy Memberson. I think was the artist on that. And
Mhm.
so, and I basically sought her out, got a commission, and then I found another artist, Brianna Garcia, and she had taken over after Amy, and so I ended up getting a nice little sketch from her too. So it was kind of nice to get two of them, and they were both for my daughter at the time. So, well, you know,
Well, that's cool. I think early on, I feel like I was buying as much art for my kids as I was for myself, right? I was running into people who were selling My Little Pony artwork. And my daughter's definitely, got a lot of that, and I bought a lot of like Sonic related artwork for my son. But it was, it's something you can, when you have something you can hang on the wall and everybody can, and the family can appreciate it. It's fun. I would imagine that those weren't the last art purchases that you bought for your kids, or uh, no.
they keep coming. Yeah, I keep on. I kind of went into the Mandalorian world because my middle daughter loved Grogu, and so I
Mhm.
started just picking up Grogu pieces when I could find them. It's like had to get the Baby Yoda, and then my oldest daughter, she wanted Pokemon, so I got her a Pokemon piece, and now she's into. Uh, she's moved on to Demon Slayer, so I got her a Demon Slayer piece recently, and just kind of going going around picking up different ones. My youngest one's gotten a couple as well. So she was named after one of the people in Inside Out. So on one of the comic art lives, I saw somebody that was doing a Inside Out characters, and I was like, oh, that's going in your room. You're getting that one.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So they've got the art on the walls, right? Then most of the
Yeah.
stuff you bought.
Yeah, they got art on the walls, so it's not allowed in the living room, this room, and my kids' room. That's about it. So, uh,
Well, Carl, he says that his first Ramona Fradon piece was bought for his daughter's room. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, again, art's something you can share and you want to share. I mean, that's kind of well, at least those of us who use CAF, I think, want to share. I mean, that's what CAF is kind of all about. And yeah, no, it's very fun. Uh, but Mr. Wedding says no kids means all the ponies and princesses are his. Okay. He's probably bought a few in his time. Um, so what was the first purchase for yourself, though? You pick up a few pieces for the family for various reasons, but then what was the thing that made you decide to get something that was more personal?
So it was the Spider-Man that brought me into it, and then I'm not actually 100% sure. So that I had the Spider-Man piece from Ramita Man's website by Mike Rotera. And sorry, a lot of my stuff's not on my gallery right now. I'm currently doing some construction on it, so you actually will only see one gallery open. But it's in there. I'll have it up again here pretty soon. Um, but yeah, it was that Spider-Man that basically got me into comic art, and honestly, to tell you the truth, it probably was right around COVID that I started really getting into it, because I sold comic books and took a really bad beating off when I sold them around that time. And it was kind of funny. The guy that's selling comic books is like, I wish, or buying the comics books. He's like, I wish I got into comic art instead. And I was like, light bulb. He's like, maybe I'll get into comic art. And I was like, what's this? And then I came and looked at your show, and all of a sudden I'm sitting on the show more than just once, and then started picking up comic art. So that led into just, I guess, just doing research. And I don't even know that I started with Guardians of the Galaxy when I first started picking things up. I just started researching things and picking up things that I thought would be interesting. You know, I remember I was doing like I watched a show or a series that Stephen Bissett was doing, and so I saw a piece that had dinosaurs and flies, and I was like, and in his series, he said that he lost the comics code when he put the flies over the zombies, and then he said his favorite thing was dinosaurs, and I was like, flies over dinosaurs, that's perfect. Like, I'm gonna mix those together. I'm getting a flies over dinosaurs piece. So it's just little things like that where I would start picking them up one by one.
So it wasn't necessarily a focus on, like you said, Guardians wasn't initial, so it wasn't a character focused thing. It was more just impulse, would you say? Like impulse kind of purchases and things that
Yeah,
just clicked with you?
yeah, it was impulse, and things that clicked with me, and you know, I still bring it back. I kind of mentioned to somebody just recently about this PBS documentary, and there was a PBS documentary I watched. I don't know, probably 2015, something like that, and it really got me into loving history. And I think the history of comics kind of is where I started going towards. I just like researching. I used to be a stamp collector, and I have this like hobby, and I don't know if it's like an obsession with wanting to research things. I don't know. So I started, I moved from stamp collecting over to doing comic art, and I just research kind of a bunch with things, and try to find things that maybe a lot of people don't even know about the art. So
Hmm. Well, I mean, I always have admiration for people who do a lot of research, because it's fun when you talk to people, and some people collect just because they love the images and things, but a lot of people know the backstories about the artists, and or specifically about a particular piece, and that's always fun. I mean, again, it's what makes art collecting more personal. It's like you can dive in as deep as you want to know a bit about the creator, or the creative process that went into a published piece or a commission or whatnot. Um, but yeah, I always find that interesting. Like the conversation I had with Ron Sonnenthal last week was just so fun, because he had so much anecdotal information about the artist that it was like, I might as well just been sitting in a class listening to a lecture, because of that. But it's fun when people take it seriously and want to know more, about the pieces they own. Um, there you go. Derek says, unlike the rest of you, Ian has never asked me a question about anything. And that's true, Derek, because everybody asks you questions about stuff. But is that true? Have you never asked Derek a single question?
I can't remember. I may not have. I'm always researching. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just my passion. So basically, anytime I want to know something about it, I dive into it. I'm not good on the chat though. Like when I do research, it's very. I'd say there's two levels of knowledge within the hobby. I would say there's like the broad knowledge, and sometimes I wonder if AI is part of that broad knowledge. But I don't have the broad knowledge. Never. I mean, a lot of people heard in the past that I didn't grow up reading comic books. I didn't start till 2013,
Hmm.
and that's when I started reading comic books. So my knowledge of the history of comics is probably far less than people. And I'd say my knowledge is just, like in-depth knowledge. So I try to like research something, and I try to research it deeply into it. I try to go into, you know, right now I'm actually using AI, but I'm using it to do research about a piece, and then it actually gives you references. And so I can use the AI, and then it'll give me the references, and then I can find the interviews by the artists and things like that. And so then I'm just reading their interviews that they did and seeing how it relates to the piece of art and things like that.
Yeah, I'm still on the outside looking in at AI, but I had like a Zoom call with somebody like a month ago, and they were showing me how they use AI, and I was dumbfounded looking at it, because we were asking it stuff like, uh, can you what are the most popular artworks added to Comic Art Fans in the last 7 days, right? I mean, a question. I'm like, there's no way it's going to be able to answer that, and it came back with a reasonable set of answers that were I don't know, were they perfect? I don't think so. But when it listed what it felt like the top 10 artists were, it like then gave you links to CAF for pieces by those artists, and was breaking it down on like why it felt, these three artists were more relevant than others. And I was I was surprised. It was that there's so much there at your fingertips, whether it's completely accurate. I mean, it's hard to say, but I think I'm with you. I mean, there's definitely something interesting, in there that I don't know. I'm sure within the next year or two, I'll probably explore more into that. But um, let's see. So CJ said he does a lot of research as well, and I kind of get that from some of CJ's answers. You're right. I'm mad that Cyclops pieces weren't picked by the AI, Alberto. That is for sure. But I don't think any Captain America pieces were picked either. Um, Robert Berman says AI is not necessarily accurate, but always speaks confidently. That is for sure. So back to OA collecting though, and so we know you as the Guardians guy. So at what point did that happen? Because I feel like you've been on CAF for over 5 years, so at least I think when probably started taking notice, I think you were probably, and the pieces that you had in your collection, I probably already just assumed you were the Guardians guy. So when and what made you decide to kind of go down that path?
I'd say it all stemmed. I mean, I loved him off the MCU. I won't lie. The MCU also for me was kind of a big push to get into comics, so
Mm.
that also was a little bit in there as well for me. But uh, I ended up going on to, I think it was on Mark Hayes pages or site, and I was going through splash page comic art, and I noticed that at the time Brad Walker still had some pages from Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was like, how are these still around? Like, I can own these. I really just didn't, I mean, I was still so new, I really didn't even know. And I was like, I love all these, and so I started picking them up, and I picked some up and then more up, and then all of a sudden I was like, well, maybe I'll make this a thing. And then I started connecting that over with Victor Olazaba, I think was in there. And so he was inking some pages and still selling some pages. He was selling some from Timothy Green, I think at the time. And so I think then I just started researching that era and started reading. I went back and read it a lot. And so I ended up researching the era, read it, and it just kind of fell into my era of collecting. And so from there, you know, I basically have collected most of the key art, I guess, for that era.
Hmm.
There's a couple pieces that are still out there, still waiting to be had, but that's kind of where I started going, and it's kind of funny. Right behind me, there was a I got this as a Christmas gift from a friend actually, and it was a Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, the Ultimate Guide to the Cosmic Outlaw. And if you actually look in here, surprised I turned the page right away. Is it okay if I flip these pages? Am I allowed to show the inside of
Oh,
them?
of course, please.
So basically, if you go through these chapters, this is the whole comic history of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And the funny thing is, there's a chapter, and this is right where mine begins. And so if you come in here, it does the whole history, and you can go through the chapters, and you can read all of them. But basically, as you'll see later, Thanos, this Thanos series is kind of going to be some of the start to the modern stuff that you'll see later. But yeah, he got me that, and I was able to learn a little bit more of the history through that. And yeah, kind of went from there. Um,
Well, here's a question from Jason. I have no idea what he's talking about. Says Ian, how do you feel about Charlie 27 and Nikki relation?
I'm the funniest thing. I have not read the early series yet. I keep on
Ah,
telling
well,
myself I'm gonna read it, and I still have yet to read all of it. I've not. I have a piece from it, and I've read some of it, but I have not read a lot of it. So they come into my air as well, and so I know them a little bit from my air. But yeah, that's that part of I have so much more to read still.
what does Alberto have to ask? Ian, does Cosmic Ghost Rider belong in the Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, I still like Cosmic Ghost Rider. I think I do. I have Cosmic. I might. No, I don't have. I'll have to get him one day. He's gonna have to be
Awesome. So there's holes though in your Guardians of the Galaxy art collection that
there.
from series or by artists that you're looking for.
So the funniest thing is there's really no more holes for me in
Okay.
my era. Like I've collected every character, something that connects to every main like key event that happened. And so yeah, I've kind of gone to start collecting some of the earlier stuff. I've already had some of the stuff that's newer than that era, but
Hmm.
I kind of wanted to show this broad history of it, because I love history. And so I've got a little bit from every aspect, but really where the team's coming together, that's what my collection's all about.
Cool. Mickey says, what about Starhawk?
Starhawk, I have Starhawk artwork
You have,
too.
yeah, you have some as well.
Yeah.
But does he belong? But do they belong? I guess in the
They belong, and they belong from when Star Lord and a bunch of them went back in history. Yeah,
All right.
I'm fine with it, and I'm sure it's a great series, and I probably will love it. It's just, and I'll know even that much more. I mean, it's always fun because then you do actually get more depth to something, and so I probably will even appreciate that much more. But because I love the MCU so much, and I love the Guardians of the Galaxy from that, the comedy, I think the comedy of it all, it kind of spoke to me. So I like, I recently I heard somebody was talking about how very like serious writing, and I just go to comedy. I'm not a serious person. I can't do it. Yeah.
So yeah, some more like you said, more Guardians focused versus Watchmen focused or something like that. I mean, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, yeah, Mary Poppins too, Marcus. Yes, that's possible.
I'm
Jason's
very Poppins, y'all.
there right there. Yandu in the movies is nothing like in the comics, and that is very true. But that's
Oh,
okay.
no,
Well,
that is
no.
the old comics. But then, George Hodge ended up, he actually presented me because I don't know everything about it. And he had ended up picking up the first time Yondu came, which was in the Star Lord series. I think it was 2015. I collected some pieces from that, and somehow I even missed that Yondu really didn't look like the MCU kind of Yondu until about that series. And so that's his first Earth 616 appearance. So well, I don't know if it's truly the first Earth 616, but that's what the websites are all calling it. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
So is the focus on for your collecting going to continue to stay on Guardians, or are you branching out, or what would you? Because I saw earlier who mentioned it. Somebody I know, because I know you have other pieces, and it's not just Guardians focused. Tony had mentioned you had a great Rick Hoberg Wonder Woman piece in your collection. I don't know if is it still in your collection?
Still in the collection. Nothing goes out of my collection. Very rare. I think I got rid of a couple things, but I'm not really one to get rid of my collection. Um, I'm the one of those black hole collectors.
There is nothing wrong with that. So that, but that's but you mentioned you're doing an overhaul on your CAF gallery. What exactly does that mean?
So I noticed, and I always like imagine my collection as kind of like a museum in and of itself, because I
Mhm.
always think of history. And so I started looking at it, and I I'm a humorous person, and I always appreciate it. But when I went back at it, it just looked very um, piecemeal, and you couldn't really tell the story of what I've been putting together. And so, really, I wanted to go back and rewrite everything. And yes, I am using AI to help me rewrite things. And so that's where I'm actually using AI, and it's finding things that I take AI with a grain of salt. I'm not somebody that tries to actually put AI in unless I actually have tried to research it. Now, I'm not always perfect, but I try to research everything, and I try to go into the references of it. And
Mhm.
it helps me write things so people can read it clearer. And and it references things. I had a homage, or sorry, no, an origin for Drax, which it's not in this, but I have an origin for Drax that is in the Warlock and the Infinity Watch series. And I didn't actually know some of the history, even though I'd read it and did my own research, and AI brought something to life. And then I ended up taking something out of that. And I was like, oh, that actually is real. And I'm surprised that I missed it and that AI knew about that. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I know. I don't like AI taking over everything, but I'm not one to fall behind in the time, sadly. And I know AI's got lots of horrible things that I don't want, but it does help with some things.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. I mean, and I think I'd like to think most people kind of go through the feeling, the need to kind of, uh, I don't know, dust off the gallery and kind of change its focus or at least reorganize it from time to time. It has. I think I feel like I feel like I'm in that stage more than I'm content with the way I've organized my artwork. And it was almost in a weird way. I'd accidentally, or I think my developer accidentally deleted my X-Men gallery room, right? That had all my published art in it for 20 plus years, right? When we were developing the app. And in a weird way, it's kind of nice because I get to go back and rescan everything and kind of rethink of, a little bit about like how I want to organize it. But I would have to believe anybody who's been on the site, for 3 or more years has probably looked at the way they've organized things and thought, I could have done that better. And it does take time, right, to kind of come up with a different strategy. But I think some collectors take it really seriously. I saw Robert Berman is kind of doing he's got his featured stuff. He's cycling in stuff like you mentioned, kind of putting on a little gallery show, using their featured pieces on their main gallery page to kind of show off a certain set of things that they've collected over the year. I think that the more we can do fun things like that with our gallery, the more, at least the more engaged we're going to be with our collections, right? So it's probably a good thing going through that kind of a process, whether you're using AI or not. I mean, it does help out. What is Alberto's in a mood? He's been in a mood for a while, I guess, but he says Bill likes decaf more than regular calf. Oh, I don't know about that. I, I don't know about that. I've been looking at the main calf site a lot the last couple months, just with Cal going on and everything else. So Robert says I do different pieces every month on the front page. Yeah, no, I mean that's a great way to do it, especially when you have a lot of artwork that you can cycle through. Jay says I haven't looked at calf in years. No, that's so wrong. But anyway, but no, but that's cool. I mean, I'll be curious to see what comes out of you kind of reworking things, because I'm definitely in a mood to rework what I have as well, because you having just a Thor gallery room, and it's a mix of published and unpublished stuff, and that doesn't quite feel right. I think that yeah, you can go through and definitely mess around a bit with that. But so the shirt you're wearing, though, the T-shirt, that's your own brand of shirt, isn't it? Here, let's highlight that.
There you go.
Ian
Woo!
Saint Comic Art. How
There
did
you
how
go.
did that come about? Because I think that image is on the main page of your CAF gallery.
Yep. Yep. So that actually came about, just I was wanting something to where I went to like an OAX show or something like that, and I wore it, and somebody would be like, "Oh, that's the Ian Saint guy," so that way I could strike up conversations with more people. And really, that's where it came from. It's not becoming a business. It won't be becoming a business. So,
So you're not
it,
starting your own art rep business or anything like that.
I
No,
don't
you're
got
just
time for that.
no services for the community.
No, I ended up I love doing Photoshop too. So that I do photography and Photoshop. This is actually, my family is in there. So we were doing you can't really tell, but this is a Photoshop of my family in cosplay. And so we were all in cosplay, and then I just photoshopped around and then threw the thing over. So it's my family photo.
Very nice. I was just trying to picture the I can see shapes, but yeah,
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
details.
I don't know if you can see. There's my wife, and there I am, and there's some kids down in here.
What you were were you cosplaying as Guardians, or was it
Yeah,
Star Wars?
you can see the little red eye. That's a Star-Lord helmet there, and then
Okay, I do see that.
yeah, yeah. So it was just us cosplaying. So
Yeah. But everybody's in a mood tonight. I guess it's a Tuesday night thing. But well, that'll be cool. You got to let us know well, how will you announce that you've reorganized things? Yeah, I guess will it just happen and
it'll just be there. Honestly, it's like a continuous work in progress. It's just for fun. Uh, I don't know that I want to put everything that I have in there also
Mhm.
anymore, because it really bogged down. I think, like, I have a lot of Guardians pieces. I have quite a lot. And you go in that gallery and you start looking, you're not even going to see what I'm trying to actually show in my gallery. And so I may have like that gallery and then another gallery kind of separate of it, of like other Guardians pages I've collected, but just have like a focused Guardians. But yeah.
No, that makes sense. You're absolutely right. I mean, the galleries can get a little convoluted, after a while, right? Especially if you have several hundred pieces in there. I get it. Get it. Alberta wants you to have a panel at OAX, though. So You can host one out in the courtyard
There you
because I don't think we're even having panels of any kind this time around. But they have a nice pavilion now. There's a place where you can make it look really official to be
go.
doing a panel of some sort. Um, yeah, there you go. Robert says once a gallery gets beyond one page, 18 pieces, I suspect engagement drops off. That may be true. That may be true. That today gallery rooms are limited to 18 pieces at a time, but yeah, that's probably going to change sometime in the near future. 18 is a very limiting number. I will give you that. Won't disagree with that. But enough about CAF, even Ian. So um, we should probably look at some art, right?
Yeah.
You sent me, and you sent them
Sure.
in a nice order. There's a progression here,
Yeah.
and I'll have to say, you have probably sent me some of the best scans of anyone who sent me scans. These are all super high res. I could have printed some of these images because the scans were so good. So I appreciate that. It makes my life easier. A lot of times I get smaller images and I have to, either go see if I can find a bigger image on the site or ask for bigger stuff. But no, if anything, I would ask for smaller images. These were perfect. Uh, Peter Rose says calf goes good with coffee. That's good. I usually start my day that way. So we're starting off with a familiar artist here. Somebody I just posted a piece from on CAF over the weekend, but a Mannix piece. So this, so we're not starting at the early days of your collecting here. When did you pick this piece up?
This was the SDCC 2024. So I was there, and somebody got me a Got Manic shirt. And the funny thing is, I was already going to end up getting Mannix while I was there. I was like, I need to get Mannix. Now I wasn't 100% sure I was going to be able to get a piece, but I was like, I need to get a Mannix piece. And so I went to Mannix, ended up picking this one up, and I asked them to do Guardians of the Galaxy. And what came back, just it floored me. I was this is like, it makes me smile every time I look at this. It's here in the room right next to my bed. It's just it's a piece that I love. So yeah, Alberto, I just got my first Mannix cover the other day too. So
I saw that somewhere. Everybody was shouting it on socials no, it was in the Facebook chat group we're in for OAX, right? Where
yeah,
I didn't get to attend Nick's show. What happened that was that managed you to get that Mannix cover?
Nick was just pushing. He brought a lot of pieces out, uh, and he had like, I think 6 or 7 covers, and he was doing a kind of like this holiday themed show, and he pulled him out, and it was like one after another where he was getting Mannix covers. So I was like, yes, I need one. I actually didn't think I was going to get one, and it just so happened that usually when somebody's already claimed something, you write it in, but there's nothing left there. But then he just brought more pieces out, and somehow I landed one. I was thrilled.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I don't get to watch his shows on Friday too often, but that sounds like that would have been an exciting one to watch. I should go back and rewatch it. But this is fun. I have I don't know, I have like 5 or 6 pieces by Mannix, and all of them are more like singular character focused. Even like the oldest piece I got that's kind of bigger and has like a landscape around it. It's still a single character in it, and I really, really, really like these pieces that he's done where he's just using shapes and colors with those shapes like this. I mean, it's just something I really, really enjoy it. And I think the only way you can get a piece like this is if you commission him. And I still haven't done it, but every time I see one of these, it doesn't matter what the characters are. It's just such a fun and imaginative way of putting together a commission, and I love it. I love this piece a lot. I mean, and shoot, you could literally turn this thing sideways, and it could go any angle you wanted to hang it, and it
Yeah.
would have been perfect.
Yeah. I love the abstract part of it. The colors pop, like everyone says it, but when you have one and you can actually see the colors pop, they kind of knock your socks off. They pop off the wall. They're
Yeah,
just really,
no,
really amazing pieces.
I love it. Yeah, it's funny. I'm looking at it now, and I never thought of like Juan Moreau, but uh, there's no way that that Mannix wouldn't say he likes Miro's artwork, because there's something, Miro's later work was very geometric and tied together with these same sorts of shapes, and I love it. It's probably why it's just a facet to these pieces, I think, that attracts me to them even more. But wow, and Rocket's awesome in here. I mean, every one of the characters are great. But wow, cool. Well, you did very well with this piece, and it's framed very well as too. I mean, that might be one of the more ornate frames for a Mannix piece.
I always do like weird colors. I just wanted all the colors when I framed everything. I didn't want anything black. Well, I have a couple black and white, but not many.
All right, so we go from Mannix to something from Fighting Army issue number 124. So tell me about this one.
So this one I basically brought in just because everyone kind of knows me as the Guardians of the Galaxy guy, but I also actually truly do like war titles. I just have I don't know, it's that history buff in me that I always liked war history, and I've done a lot of studying in war history.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you've ever read the old history of it, I have a family lineage of people that have been in wars forever. I never did serve, but I'm very thankful for everyone that did serve. And so I picked this up, and when I picked it up, it was kind of an unknown piece, and I ended up having to do the research for this one. And I ended up basically searching the artist, found out which titles he was on, and making an educated guess that it might have been in Fighting Army. And I picked up all the comic books that he had a really good list of the issues that he was doing for the series. And so I picked all the comic books up and found this page in there. But what I really liked about this page was that it was a night scene, and I'd been wanting a night scene like in comic art, and I thought he did this night scene, and the action was really good in it. And it's very dynamic. The water, if you look closely at the water in the third panel, the way he did the like circular artwork and the way the waves are crashing up, I really liked the style that he handled with water. It's a little bit different than a lot of artists. And he did the machinery well. It's just I basically put this one in because I actually think this is probably one of the prettiest production pieces of artwork that I actually own. I really do like this piece of production artwork. A lot of production artwork I pick up, and I'm picking up a lot for history sometimes, but this one was just artistically, I thought they did a really good job with it, or he did. It was
right. I mean, it's gorgeous, and you get the full moon there, so that's why it's lighted as it is. I mean, that first panel is amazing. You're right. I mean, you're making Peter Rowe jealous to show off a nice war page that he doesn't own. But for me, I'm holding out for something like from Haunted Tank or something like that. I've been waiting, but I haven't seen the right page yet. But this is awesome. I love that second panel at the plane basically upside down like that. It's perfect. Yeah. See, Peter's yelling. You own enough war art already, Peter. You add enough every week to your CAF. Oh, now where'd you get this one, or do I have to ask?
Yeah, you've seen this one before. This one was at OAX last year, and I picked this up. And funny enough, I went in wanting to get a Marvel published cover, and then I found some pieces, and then I probably didn't quite have enough money anymore to go get the cover that I wanted. But then I started looking. I'd been enjoying illustration art. There's that Facebook group that talks about, it's a not for sale one, but it talks about illustration art. And so I've gone on there. I've seen some of the major collectors that actually collect some of the, and I can see the Virgil Finlays and all the Frazettas and all those other ones that they post in there that I'm always drooling over. And me personally, I picked this up just because I wanted something sci-fi. I love science fiction. I like all sci-fi. It doesn't bother me, and as long as it has a bubble helmet in space, I'm game. I'm gonna pick this up. And but this thing was beautiful. I just looked at it and I'm like, this thing is really good. And I did not actually know much at all about Perry Rodan at the time, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it perfectly. But when I picked this up, this is number 1857, so there's a lot of books for the series. This is from 1997, I believe, but I didn't know much about it, but then I started doing research, and this is actually the beginning to tie into my Guardians of the Galaxy collection. And you wouldn't think it, but in the first issue, Marvel Preview 4, they actually give homage to Perry Rodan in the one of the word balloons. So this is kind of my beginning. So the history when Star-Lord was created, Steve Englehart was actually doing a lot of reference to the Star Trek. I think he did Lensman, Perry Rodan, and Flash Gordon in that issue. And so he's just referencing a lot of different, earlier sci-fi. And it was kind of cool. I didn't originally pick it up for this, but I see it like as a beginning that's bringing along my Guardians of the Galaxy collection. So yeah, and I thought this one was just beautiful. I was really happy to pick this one up.
Anything that Marcus had, on display was really impressive. I didn't get to look at every piece up close, but it was really nice to see. And I think there's more coming in 2026. I think he's he'll have a similar size space again. But no, you think about it. I mean, it ties in with Guardians, like you said. I mean, I love science fiction as well. And I just thought that all of these pieces were really nice. And I don't know a lot about Perry Rodan either. I mean, but good art when you see it, right? And I'm with you on the bubble helmets. That's just classic. I'd love anything that's that's kind of from that era or around it. But yeah, this is a great example, and it was fun getting to see several collectors pick up something from Marcus and have them go back to their CAF gallery, because it's just stuff that I don't think there was probably a lot of Perry Rodan artwork on CAF until after OAX. So yeah, I think that's awesome. And you're right, Michael. It was a great exhibit. Definitely.
It was nice. I'd actually reached out to him even before you brought him in because I liked his art originally. So it was kind of nice that I was able to meet him over at OAX. OAX is a great place.
He's a very nice guy. And
yeah, he's a very nice guy.
I think, but yeah, he will be back, everybody. So what Derek says, Lensman is to Charlie 27, Guardians of the Galaxy as Green Lantern is to Star-Lord. Okay. You are the professor, Derek. You are the professor. Anyway, I was very happy to see this. It makes me want to get something for Marcus when he comes back too. But was this? It wasn't framed when you bought it, right? So this was a frame that you had.
The frame, more color. Yeah, I got that one framed, and I'm getting better, I think, actually at framing as I go. So if I don't really talk a lot about it, but the black has got like a material, kind of almost looks like an astronaut suit if you actually look at it. And then
texture to it, yeah.
And then the metal was kind of the metal, you get that silver metal, and then the red was just bringing out the dark reds. There, there's deep reds, and I think I can't remember the name of the alien Voida. I can't remember, but yeah, it brings out that red meaty look that's kind of in that. So yeah, I really enjoy framing. When I get a chance to frame, I try to think about it as I go.
Oh, came out great. Okay, so tell me about this one. Burn Austin piece?
No, this is a reprint. Burn Austin.
It's a reprint. Okay.
So this is Jeff Ackland and Duffy Vollen.
Yeah.
Going into Star Wars Weekly. I think this was in Star Wars Weekly 25.
Yep.
And so I picked this one up, and this came up, and I think this is probably my first true foray into the earlier side of the Guardians that I collect. And this is definitely he's fighting Lord Gareth right there, and as you can tell, that's not much of a name that you see in the MCU. So definitely a different era of Star-Lord. But I wanted something to kind of connect into it. And not only does it connect there, it also connects to Star Wars because it's in the Star Wars Weekly. So again, I'm kind of
Mhm.
sitting here just kind of connecting all that sci-fi, some of the big sci-fi that's coming through. I just like connecting pieces. And so that panel that you see up, somebody said you could probably sell. Did somebody say you could sell this as burn?
Sold it. You could sell it to me as Burn in Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the second panel actually with Star-Lord, I looked at the panel that it's referencing from in Marvel Preview 11. So this
Mhm.
is a reprint of Marvel Preview 11. They always do like one page to do like a narrative to bring it back. So this isn't an actual
Right, they do that. Right, the UK reprints had a single page, like a replacement title page to kind of bring you into the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he really did spot on almost with that Star-Lord. When you look at him and the Burn Austin, they're actually very close. And so it was really nice to be able to pick something like that up. And amazingly, I was able to get a hold of Jeff Ackland. We talked a little bit. And so I got a little, I didn't actually know who the inker was at the time. And Jeff actually told me it was Duffy. And I didn't actually know who the inker was when I picked it up. And then he told me a little bit about the process. And so I got to learn there's, I think, some referencing at the top of it, and it's how they scanned it over to the UK or scanned it. They were transferring it. So there's like some numbering system at the top, like 60, it said something like 65% or maybe it was on the, I don't remember what it was, but there's a numbering there was a numbering system somewhere on this page. Maybe it's on the, oh, there you go, 68% DPK. And that's how they were transferring the artwork over. I don't know enough about the process, but he was kind of going through the process telling me, because I was like, what does 68% DPK mean? So that was just transfer notations. So, yeah, so this is the beginning. This is actually, if you actually look at the history of this is printed, Star Wars Weekly 25 was printed one day after Marvel Preview 16, which was the fourth appearance of Star-Lord. So he was drawing this in between the third and fourth appearance of Star-Lord anyway. So I was like, this is some pretty early Star-Lord if you actually think about it. So it's perfect to pick up.
Yeah, I mean, funny that they were reprinting it that early, but I mean, I guess it was just part of getting the books over to the UK.
That
But
and I think it's right around Star Wars time, and they're trying to fill that Star Wars book, and they're probably just reaching for any sci-fi that they've got. Because if you look, Marvel Preview 11 was 2 years after, and they got the new art team, and so they probably all of a sudden Star Wars comes out, and then all the sci-fi titles they're trying to reinvigorate them and get kids involved with more sci-fi titles, and that's probably what was happening with this.
that makes perfect sense. All right. Now this is Dan Lawless artwork, and it's from Doctor Strange issue 35.
Yeah. And so this was really special for me because I love the Infinity Gauntlet. That is actually, I haven't read everything, but I did read the Infinity Gauntlet. And this is a tie-in to the Infinity Gauntlet and Doctor Strange. And not only that, this is their second basically attempt to attack Thanos. And there you got Doctor Strange opening portals. And I'm like, you remember I'm an MCU fan. I'm like, this is kind of like the biggest moment of the MCU. He's like setting up these portals. And I know the Infinity Gauntlet comic book doesn't hold the same storyline, but still at the same time, who knows? Maybe this is where they're referencing some of this stuff from. So, but you read some of the panels in there, Eric Masterson had been, killed in the Infinity Gauntlet, and he's been brought back, and he's like, oh, that truly happened, and we got to go face that guy again, basically. So yeah, it was just a good tie-in. And I do collect a lot of Jim Starlin stuff too. I try to collect that. This isn't Jim Starlin, but there's kind of that era also that I think of it. So I had another Jim Starlin page that I wanted to put in. I don't have it, but this one I think is this the one written by Roy Thomas? I think that was. And so, but that era, you got a lot of different writers coming in, but that's kind of era. And I just kind of mentioned the Jim Starlin because later I'll show that switch where it's kind of that era of his cosmic into the era that I'm collecting of cosmic. So, but yeah, this is just a really cool piece from the Infinity Gauntlet. It was a great read. If nobody's read it, you got to read it. It's an amazing story. So,
Wow, the art is very nice. Uh, I didn't realize Lawless, had worked on any part of that, but that's that's good. Alberto has his preferences, of course, wishing the Cap would have appeared in here rather than Masterson Thor. We get it, we get it. Uh, but no, it is. You're right. It's a fun page when you think about it. Like you said, Doctor Strange, portals, all that stuff. It makes for a fun buy. How long have you had this piece?
This one was semi earlier in my collecting. It was actually pretty cheap when I picked it up. It wasn't even that much, but it was a page that I jumped on it in a heartbeat when I saw it. It was like, yeah, I'm not gonna get a Guardians of the Galaxy, or sorry, Infinity Gauntlet page anytime soon. So I was like, this is the next best thing, This is fully tying into the Infinity Gauntlet, or yeah, the Gauntlet. So yeah, that one made me happy though. So that one is on the wall. That's in a frame. I just don't have the frame picture up.
Well, it's a very nice page. Well inked as well. And Daryl R is in the chat. Hey, Daryl.
Hey, Daryl.
Ron Lim with Palmiotti inks on this one from 94. Cosmic Powers issue 1, page 10. Oh, very cool. That second panel is awesome. Man.
So this was another OAX pickup. And so I picked this one directly up from Jimmy. And I thought that was really special to be able to pick up a 90s page from Jimmy from this kind of era. And, this was the piece that got me not buying a cover, because the moment I saw this, I was like, oh, I'm going to pick that one up. I can't help it. I got to have something with Thanos, especially because he's sitting there, doing what Thanos does best. He's about to just take somebody out. And I love Ron Lim's artwork. Silver Surfer. I've read the Silver Surfer. I've read that series for the most part. I don't think I've read all of it, and then when I was a kid, I did read a couple of comics. I didn't have a lot. I may have had like 15, but one of them was Silver Surfer 92, and I still own that one by Ron Lim. So that's like, and then I had Ron Lim sign that, and I had Ron Lim sign this, and like he's in my neck of the woods, so I get to chat with him actually quite frequently. He's a very nice guy.
So this wasn't one of Jimmy's $100 bins, right?
No, this one costs a little bit more, but no.
See, I got to get over to Jimmy's table. I know he brings some good stuff with him. I mean, he's got a lot of vintage material still, and I've never once I haven't gotten to see the $100 bin yet, and I haven't gotten to see what the good stuff that he brings. I've seen a lot of the stuff that Amanda brings. I don't know how it's managed to work out that way, but yeah, that's sweet. So did you see this on day one and just pick it up immediately, or is it something you had to like think about?
No, it was in my hands the second I saw it. It's like, oh, that's mine. I was like, how did nobody? I was there early though, and nobody just had gotten to it probably. And I saw Michael Wygan in there. And yes, we actually met while we were meeting Ron. But yeah, no, this was so basically, I ended up grabbing this and immediately went up to pick this one up. This was. Yeah, I've read Cosmic Powers as well, so I did actually get to read this series. I read all the Cosmic Powers, not just this one. But can I remember everything like some of the collectors here? Probably not. I can't recite it all.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad that you're able to pick up a piece like that, because with OAX, a lot of the time we hear about the commission pieces that people get, but I don't. And other than like the big trades and things that we heard about from last year, getting to see the published pieces that people pick up, is I don't know, it's a little more few and far between, because the commission style pieces tend to dominate a lot of the stuff that we see on CAF afterwards. But yeah, no, that's awesome. I love hearing that, and I love knowing that that it's not just the dealers who are selling published pages at OAX, the artists who bring the work with them too. I mean, I remember in year one, Bob McLeod did really well selling like vintage pages that he doesn't normally bring when he goes to shows, because everybody's else normally is asking him for sketches. So I love that. So congrats. I mean, it was meant to be.
Yeah, Ron Layden did sign that, Daryl. I got him recently over here to sign that one as well. So they both signed.
Hey, we got some cap on here.
And this is actually the Alberto cap break. That's for you, Alberto. Yeah. So that's like, I don't have a ton of Captain America art, but he's in there. And so basically, um, I ended up picking this one up. And honestly, I didn't really know much about it. I just saw it and immediately, it was one of those like auctions. And I was like, I'm going to pick this up. This is, I was floored. It's like early art. It's in color. It looks good. You know, I think it wasn't being sold as published. And so it's not published. It's a tryout page. Um, yet. Oh, thank you, Becca. There's my wife. uh, and basically, I ended up picking this piece up, and the question I think around it at the time was, why is this in color? And so
Mhm.
everybody's like, why is this in color as a tryout page? They said, you know, when people are sending tryout pages, it shouldn't be in color, but there was really no answer to it. And I like answers. And so I reached out to the artist that did this one, which was this is Ken Landgraf. And I ended up talking with him, and um, he ended up telling me that basically this was, at first I thought it was Ken Landgraf, but it sounds like the studio. And so he had two other artists with him at the time, and they were all working, and they were trying to get a gig with what he remembered as Hulk magazine number 10. And the reason being that this was in color was that um, they were trying to get a color job on a new title that had been in black and white, and they were trying to show off what their studio could do in color, basically. And so
Mhm.
that's why you know, you probably won't see a ton of like colored pieces that are tryout pages like this. And so it's just kind of fun that, you know, it's a little piece of history, because it's that turn of the era of going from black and white to color. And so and this was 1978, I think. So it's actually a pretty old tryout page. Yeah.
Well, it is awesome, and Robert picked my favorite panel too. That first one where Iron Man's trying to read the newspaper, uh, just chill out. Everything, the whole afternoon's ruined by Doctor Doom, and
Yeah.
even Cap looks frightened. But I love it. Yeah, that's awesome. Ken Landgraf is a regular on the indie circuit still. Yeah, is at the last IC3, and no, good guy, definitely a good guy. But this is a fun piece.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now, this is Ron Lim again, I think, Al Milgram Inks.
Yep. And here begins my main collection. And this right here is basically the genesis of the Guardians of the Galaxy on this page. So um, you wouldn't have the Guardians of the Galaxy if Star Lord really wasn't reinvented and coming back. At this time, he's called Peter Quill, but this is his first appearance in Earth 616. And I say that because he is meeting Thanos here for the first time, and he's really never met any characters that you really see in this kind of era. Um, so basically, I would say Earth 616, but I did learn a little bit recently that they retcon, I guess is the term for it. They retcon the early stuff into Earth 616, but this is still technically when you start seeing Peter Quill start coming into into this era. And so this is just a piece I had to pick up because I always like grabbing the pieces of history. And so I love Ron Lim's work. So I was like, well, it's perfect. It's a perfect marriage of collecting. And so you have Peter Quill with all his cybernetics on his face there. And that's kind of like a part of the times here that you'll see him with the cybernetics on the face, but that does come off later. But I kind of like that era where they're just kind of working with it. I like things that aren't, that are different, and it's just a unique version of them. And I appreciate this. So as you saw in that book that I was showing you, that Thanos volume volume 1 issue 8, on the first part of that series, you actually have Jim Starlin, which has been doing Cosmic forever, and it's been kind of Infinity Gauntlet, and you go back and he's been doing brought Thanos in all this stuff. He's kind of been holding over, and then this is kind of like a passing of the mantle almost in the Cosmic era, because you're going from Jim Starlin now over to Keith Giffen, and Keith Giffen's starting to write, and he's the one that really sets the stage for the Guardians of the Galaxy. And I loved his. If you haven't read the stuff, it's really well written. It's really fun to read, and the artworks is nice through all of it. I love seeing all the artwork, and it's just been fun to collect.
I think you're going to have to give me some reading, required reading for Guardians eras, Ian, because it's a book that I haven't read much of. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
So, but I love anything that Keith Giffen has worked on. So I'm sure I'd love it.
It's a long read. It spans from here through here.
So there's plenty of trades I have to pick up.
Yeah, so you get all the. This is my collection basically from here to here. My main collection. So it spans those.
I mean, after the show, send me an email and let me know what it is, and I'll do my best. We have this local tent sale for comics. They have a lot of trades there, and a lot of it I don't look at, but every 3 weeks they have a sale, and I think they have one this weekend, this Friday and Saturday, I think. So maybe I can go over there and at least pick up a few to get started. Yes. Jeff just says Guardian starts with the Excalibur trade paperback. I know I've read more Excalibur since you guys bought, or since Tatiana picked up that Excalibur trade paperback for me. I have a lot of embarrassing gaps in my reading, even from the 80s and 90s, Ian. And so yeah, Excalibur was a title I never read, as much as I loved X-Men and most X titles, bought like so many of it, but I think I'd reached a point where I couldn't buy anymore when Excalibur came out, and I refused to read it, so I knew nothing about it. So nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I found all these things actually by using the complete Marvel. There's the complete Marvel reading order, and you're able to like read each book, and so I was able to read Star-Lord's books. And I found out where he's meeting everyone, and it was just like connecting the dots. And it's really easy because Groot doesn't really have very many books. Rocket Raccoon doesn't have very many books. Star-Lord didn't have very many books, and you can basically connect those by just reading 15 books. And I was able to find out, oh, this is when they're first coming together. And so this is how I'm basically started doing. That's all that research that I love doing. Yeah.
There you go. Well, give me the list afterwards. Reading projects are fun, says Derek.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Okay. Drax, this is from issue 4, Mitch Breitweiser from 2005. I love Mitch's work. He's I know he does most of his stuff digitally now, but I really, really enjoyed his traditional works from this era. And you were mentioning that you picked up stuff from RK, and Mitch was rep by Mark during this period.
Yep. And I picked up these pieces also from there. And I picked this one up. And I mean, I just wanted a DPS with Drax flying through the air, but it wasn't, a lot of things that I actually research, I find out after the fact. Because I'm not perfect with my comic book history. I've just picked up a lot of stuff and then done history, like reads on it. And so this piece was, basically in this book, you have Drax changing so that he ends up turning into this new form of Drax from the older style of Drax, and he gets a big hole in his head. And that's where you now have tattoos all over him. If you actually go back in my gallery in the same book, you'll see him kind of like a little bit more of a dumb oaf looking. And then he starts going into this new style of look, basically in the series. And so this is where he's coming in, and this is where Drax Knives comes from. So you see Drax in the MCU with all of his knives. Well, that came out of this book. So these knives are coming in. I think this is the seventh time they ended up having the knives. And so basically he's coming in. And then yet again, remember how I said a connected complete Marvel reading order? And if I did it appropriately, this is the first time that Drax is seen with the Blood Brothers in this series since Iron Man 55. And so you have Drax flying through the air with knives going after the Blood Brothers, which is kind of like the cover. You throw a little Iron Man in there. I'm like, it's kind of like a little homage to him. It's got the big old DPS. I'm like, that's pretty awesome.
Well, that's a good get. Now this was done in 05, so it was waiting for you to pick it up. Clearly, I mean, you did buy it from Mark.
Yeah, I bought that one from Mark, so it's still around and still able.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, a lot of to have a piece that stayed on a site for 15 years or so, and you're able to pick it up. That's incredible. Newell says he prefers Drax in purple. Okay, yeah. All right. So this is from Annihilation issue number 2, and again, this is a good one reason for you to send me these very detailed scans, because there's a lot of characters in this one.
Yeah. So this page right here is, I mean, it's like a really just awesome DPS from Annihilation, and Annihilation is up there with me for the Infinity Gauntlet. This whole era, like this means a lot to me, and to be able to get a DPS like this, it was pretty awesome. And so, yeah, DeVito, yeah. And then so I ended up picking this one up, and then as I started doing that complete Marvel reading order, I wanted to know when Star-Lord started meeting some of the characters. And so this comic book is where Gamora and Star-Lord actually meet for the first time. So they talk together in the one before it, but you have Gamora there in the right hand side, and you have Star-Lord right behind her. That's Peter Quill. So he's still Peter Quill at the time. And so that's the first comic book they're actually in together. And then this one, it's a very visually stunning page. So they ended up reprinting that. So in that Guardians of the Galaxy book that I have, they have some centerfold in here, and it's actually one of the few centerfolds that's in that book. So it's been reprinted, and I don't know if it's been reprinted before, but it's in here somewhere.
Well, the detail's spectacular on it.
So you got it for color, but and I'm just gonna move on. Yeah, it was a really awesome page. And Annihilation, and that kind of leads me to like some of my other collecting, which has been, I've picked up the first time Drax and Star-Lord got together on a page, and then I have the first time Star-Lord met Rocket Raccoon. I have the second page of the meeting. There's only 2 pages. I have the second page of that meeting, and then let's see, and then Drax, Gamora, and then Groot, which takes me on to the next page. And so you get onto this, and this is the first appearance of Groot technically in Earth 616. And Groot is meeting Star-Lord here for the first time. And so this is an Annihilation Conquest Star-Lord. This is Timothy Green II. And this is basically them coming together, the beginning of him coming in. So it was, it's a really good read. And, Keith Giffen writing in this, it's really phenomenal. All throughout this. So Keith Giffen's still writing this. Everything Thanos, everything you've seen since I started this part of the collection is all Keith Giffen written. And so I really appreciate the style of Groot. It's kind of funny, it's not perfect. It's I've heard that from, I've heard that while I was picking it up. But it was, I don't mind that. I actually like it. I like seeing things that are, not in perfection, but I like that face for Groot. I think it looks amazing. It's just different. It brings that style. So you have this image in your head of what Groot should look like. And then you get to look back at how he came to be, and you see something like this, and it just kind of, I don't know, just feels historical. This was actually it's kind of funny. This was one of my grails. So when I picked this up, this was a grail piece for me. So because this is there, I collect. This is when I started connecting things. I was like, I wanted a page from this, and the fact that I was able to get it, I was happy.
Is this something you picked up in the aftermarket, or did you get it direct from the artist?
Direct from artists, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was that and a bunch of these other, not all these, because I've got some of the Timothy Greens from aftermarket on Marquez, and then I've gotten some direct from artists. And
Awesome. Alberto, who knows Alberto? So when did Groot first say, "I am Groot"?
You'll see later.
All
Got that too.
right, we don't want to spoil anything. See, Alberto, you're putting us in. You're getting me into trouble here. So Nick Klein, he's
Yeah,
kind of
Nick.
hot these days. But this is this a prelim or is this a finished piece?
So this is all that is left. It was done digitally, and
Yeah.
so this was sold as the cover from. I saw the old thing that it got sold off of Felix. I actually got it on a secondary market, and
Okay.
I was coming off of a sad loss, and not a loss in a family, but a sad comic art loss. And I was like, oh, I missed that. And then this came up, and I'm like, yes. I was like, that's perfect. I'll pick this up, and it is. It's the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon and Groot on a cover together. And I collect Rocket Raccoon and Groot. So I can't say that's just them because Mantis is in there as well and Bug, which later is in the Guardians of the Galaxy. But this is technically their first cover, and this is all that's left of it. So the hand technically, I think, was moved to the other side for Groot and like done digitally and moved. But other than that, this is it. And so just to have that piece of history for the two characters I collect, that was special for me.
Well, I like Klein stuff a lot. The composition on this thing's fantastic.
Yeah, Nick's done some really great stuff. I've loved going through some of his books and seeing his artwork and Thanos and things like that. Yeah, he's done some amazing stuff. Was it Hulk recently? I saw something from that just floored the Jesus out. It was like
his work on Thor and Hulk are pretty spectacular. I think there's what is it in Comic Link's auction? I think he has one of the Thor covers is in the current Comic Link auction that I always loved. It's kind of the homage to the classic Hulk cover by Steranko. But yeah, this is really nice. And sometimes you miss out on something or you lose out on something, and then something comes in to replace it, right? And so that was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Newell, it's the whole issue. I didn't realize that. I only saw the cover image today. Well, hey, I mean, a lot of those books are selling complete, so it doesn't surprise me that somebody would move one. But anyways, great image. And what is it on 11x17?
No, this is a little oversized. This one's it's not actually a standard size. I can't remember. I may have written it on my CAF, but it's not a standard size.
Okay, so, but it's bigger though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So that makes it even better. Yeah. I don't care. And now I know it's bigger than 11x17. That's great. Let's see. All right, so this is another Timothy Green piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a lot of these because he was really bringing Guardians of the Galaxy into the forefront, and so this is kind of got that whole team just prior to the Guardians, and this has got Star-Lord in his full new suit, and this is the first in-book appearance with him in that full suit with the helmet and everything. And this is the first time that him and Groot and Rocket Raccoon are battling, and so it's that early stuff for me that I went back to collect, and I was just like, it's really cool. It's them coming into their own here, starting to go into a fight against the I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right, the Phalanx, and yeah, so it's a storyline that I've fallen in love with, and that same enemy is the enemy that's around that when they actually are forming. But this one, somebody was like, "Oh, this looks like a poster." I was like, "Yeah, I know. This thing does look like a poster. This looks amazing."
Oh no, it's awesome. I mean, I love the whatever these are, tentacle-ish things breaking the borders and the yeah, no, it does look like it should be a cover. It should be a poster. It could be a lot of things.
Yeah, I like his style, and I don't know if people are gonna say it's wrong of me, but it has almost like that Giordano kind of look, like that European style of art. But I really like that.
No,
style.
Very detailed and very very confident line work. I mean, no, I love it. Yeah, wow. Yeah, bullet shells, Marcus says. Yes, they're okay. They're bullet shells. Yes. Okay, next up, another one, right?
Yep. And this one just going in because I like talking about history because that's my thing with my collection, art history. And so this is something that nobody would really have known probably until I picked this up and did the research. But this is, well, the first part of this is cool. Groot is actually talking in this one. I think he says this will be a good death. And so this is the only page with Groot that I have where he's not saying I'm Groot. And so this is Groot before he's I am Groot. And so that's kind of cool. And then you have on this page basically Guardians of the Galaxy team members before the team's forming. And so you got Mantis, Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, Groot. And what you have out of this is you have well, another thing is this is Groot's first death. And so at this point, you don't know he's sacrificing himself for the team for the first time. So you actually don't know that he just keeps coming back and being respawned. So you think he's actually dead, but he's not. So it's kind of sad when you're first reading it, you're like, is he going to come back? But at the end, Mantis is kissing Rocket Raccoon and says, and she says, we'll honor his sacrifice and move on to help save the galaxy. And I was like, is that a foreshadow of the Guardians of the Galaxy? And so this is where I use AI, and AI helped me. And I found an IGN article with Keith Giffen, and Keith Giffen was saying that the editor had given him Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning's storyline, and so he actually did have the plans for Annihilation. And so this technically, most likely, he knew that what the Guardians of the Galaxy were coming and is foreshadowing them coming. So,
wow, very, very cool page. I love the way he drew Rocket as well.
It's a good
more
kiss.
raccoon than most people would draw. That's awesome. But yeah, this first panel is just incredible. Dang.
Yes, Marcus.
Hey, all right, so we have this is Tom Rainey with Scott Hanna inks on Annihilation Conquest 2.
Yeah. So this is where we were foreshadowing. This is the first I am Groot up in that first top panel. And I did not know that when I picked this up. But the cool part is it's another team, and I love Tom Rainey's work and Scott Hanna. They've done a lot of great work together. I actually really truly appreciate the work, and I've once chatted with Tom as well, and nice guy. And so being able to get this was kind of cool. I picked it up originally because it had Rock and Groot. That's why I picked this up. And this is that fact where you find history that you don't know you even had. And I think I was posted something. It was like the first Groot spores I'd collected. Somebody was like laughing at me. He was like, "The first Groot spores? Are you serious? You're gonna name that the first Groot spores?" I'm like, if it was the first Cap Shield, you would be pretty impressed that it was the first Cap Shield. And I was like, Groot spores? They made music after it in the MCU. That's one of his things he does. I was like, I was pretty happy I got it. So when he said that, I was like, I bet you I could find something else in my gallery. I never knew where the first I Am Groot page was. And then I started like looking, and I'm like, where's I Am Groot? And I was like, oh my God, I already
have it. Well, happy accidents there, right? I mean, that's totally cool. And you're right. I mean, Alberto would be, championing a page that had something unique to Captain America and like that. And that, no, just because it's Groot, does it make it any less significant? No.
Yeah. So I picked this up and basically, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. We can move on.
No, well, but I think that's, the idea that you bought something that made you think you needed to get something else. Hey, I'm going to try to find that first I Am Groot moment, and then you had it. I mean, that doesn't happen too often where you got a twofer on this one, right? That you weren't expecting.
No. That's what I was going to say. He does technically say I am Groot in Astonishing 13, and I think he might have said another one. But what he does say is like, I am Groot of the blah, 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 blah. This is where he's changing his language. So I guess I do have to clarify. So they actually mark it in the websites as the coin Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning. And this is where they're taking over in my collection. So this is now all going to be written by Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning for a while. and so that's kind of that era. But yeah, this is where they coin it, the language, basically.
Wow.
Daryl.
Good old Daryl. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Indeed we do. So so yeah, this one's, tell, I mean, this isn't a cover either, by the way. I mean, it's a splash page from Annihilation Conquest issue 6, page 3. But man, it could be a cover.
Yeah. This one floored me. This is imprinted, burned in my memory after reading it. It was like a moment. Like if you read the series, it's a moment. And there's actually another splash in my gallery that's similar to this one. And it was from a Nova series where Wellington Alves did that as well. And I picked that one up, and as I was writing, I was like, I'm picking this up because I'll never get that other one. Like, I'm not going to be able to get it. And it went up for auction, and for some reason it got overlooked, and I was amazingly happy that I was able to get this thing. This ended up basically, if you look at the Guardians of the Galaxy, this is the first issue that they come together in. And there's no other splash page that actually marks that moment in that entire book. There's an interior that does. And so I haven't picked up that interior. So that's why I said there's one or two floating things out there that I would collect. But the fact that I was able to get this, which is the best splash from the book, and this is the only thing connected to them entering the book. This is where Drax and Gamora are entering into the team, basically. That it's amazing. And yes, and we got Warlock and yeah, Nova. It's a great page. Yeah. So that was that with two other pages I've collected that are in the gallery. If you put them all three pages together, I've collected all the characters that are in that first book. They're just on three separate pages. And so I was like, well, if I can just frame them next to each other, I technically have them. And the cool part is it's by the two artists, because this issue was also Tom Rainey and Wellington Alves. They did it split on this book. So so yeah, it's kind of that history. So I love the history, and this one looks really good. It's a great page. The art is phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. I'd like to see this one in person just to see how they did all the effects on there. I mean, clearly adding a little like white out or white paint to add that there. That's cool. I like it a lot. All right. So this is by Paul Pelletier and Rick Magyar inks on this one. Always good.
Yeah, and this is the first time they're named the Guardians of the Galaxy on this page. And so this is this on one of the missing panels, sadly. But that's just a reprint of Mantis over those two panels. And so technically all the art's there. It is, they basically, she foreshadows that they will name themselves the Guardians of the Galaxy on this page. And this is volume 2, issue 1 for the series. So this is basically where the Guardians start forming to be who they are. The modern Guardians. Sorry for all the people that appreciate the older Guardians. And then basically I realized after I picked this one up, the top panel is the only single panel the first single panel that team's actually forming together. And because it was on a single page, but it was in different framing of the interior page. And so this is technically a first panel. You got Mantis, Groot, Star-Lord, Drax. You got them all on there. Rocket Raccoon's sitting down there.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love kind of like the messy border here. Whether or not they printed it like that. I love seeing stuff like that.
Yeah, and I love these works. Like, I know I'm talking about history a lot, but I see these pieces of artwork and they make me happy. It's the artwork that I've been reading that I've gotten like so connected to. So I love it. I just love seeing this stuff. I love the sci-fi look of it all. And it's different than a lot of the others sci-fis out there in its own unique way.
Oh, I agree. Alberto likes the creative team on this one as well.
Yeah. I got two other of the naming pages. There's 4 in total. I'm missing one. I think I'm good though.
Do you
Leave
know
one.
where it is?
Yeah, I'm not chasing everything in the world. This one,
Wow. It's another Brad Walker piece. This is wow. I love Brad's stuff. Look how detailed that is. Holy smokes.
and he's the one that really got me started with collecting the Guardians of the Galaxy, probably. So you go back to this, and this is you look at this splash right here. This is why. This is honestly hands down for me my favorite splash page in comic art. So I know other people have theirs, but this one's mine. But when I saw this, I don't know, it just floored me. And every time I saw this, I was like, I love this splash page. It's yeah, that's what this one's all about. It's just beautiful artwork.
Dang. I mean, yeah, Brad is somebody that doesn't get talked about enough. I mean, I don't know, there's just certainly not even enough of his artwork out there, at least. But I think I love his stuff. Wow. So do you have this one hanging up on the wall?
No, no, my Guardians collection mostly isn't on the wall. Actually, I need to, but there's only so much room, and I'd already filled most of my spots.
All right. Well, if any of them did make it to the wall, that one would. See, even
It definitely would. The thing I wanted, like I always think, is like I would love to see them all framed one day.
mhm.
That's why I was like, oh, I wish it would be a museum one day. That is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's just great. It really is nice. Dang. Perspective's fantastic. The background, I mean everything. You get everything in this piece. It should be used as a cover. And it should be like reprinted on a poster 18 by 24 or 3 by 4 foot. It should be huge. It's
Yeah,
great.
I got another 2 or 3 splashes that are like this from Brad. And they're all good. This one is the one that I gravitate towards, but they're all amazing.
Well, Alberto says you can just buy a bigger house.
There you go.
Easy for him to say. Oh man. All right. So a color piece here
Yep.
and framed as well.
So I just wanted to bring back to some color in this at the getting closer to the end here. And this piece here is Rock and Groot, and I did this commission wanting it kind of over like superimposed with some waves of the Great Wave off Kanagawa, which is what I'd asked for, which I know is probably a very popular thing. A lot of people see that. But when I was a kid, my father was in the military and he was stationed in Okinawa. And he had sent me back a postcard of the waves of Kanagawa. And it's always stuck with me. So I told the artist and I gave her that like history. And I said, could you connect those two together? And this is with Mog Park. And she did a phenomenal job with this. Like I saw this and it made me just smile. This is another one of those pieces that are just I'm in love with, especially because Rock and Groot are my 2 favorite characters. And I don't know how many people have been through San Francisco and seen banners of museums like they line the lampposts through San Francisco. And I like see this and it's like it has that like the colors and the tone to it just remind me of some of the things that you see on the flying banners that are sitting on the sides of the streets. And
Sure.
it's just always been it's hanging in the house, and it's a piece that I love. I just connect to it.
Well, I think it's all their take on the waves. It's not like a straight like what you would expect it to be graphic. It's painterly and fun, but you still see the reference immediately. I think that's what's fun about it. The artists kind of taking their own take on it. But no, this should be something you look at every single day.
Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. I was happy when this one came in too.
User Rinsler says, so this is where all the Guardians of the Galaxy art goes.
Basically, like I said, my gallery doesn't show all of it. There's a lot.
Yeah. So how are you going to reorganize things in your CAF? Are you going to kind of group it by era or by storyline or by importance to pieces, especially when you think of like, like the first time he says I am Groot, that kind of stuff. What's your thinking right now?
Historical splashes, pages I connect with, I think,
Hmm.
basically. Trying to tell the whole story. I mean, because like I said, I've collected basically every character of this era. I've gotten all the bad guys, all the the team members, and I've collected basically every moment for it. So it's just kind of, yeah. It I don't know if I'm going to every single thing, but I've collected like Keith Giffen and Dan Abnett and Andy Landing's main runs, and there's like parallel runs of. So you got all these, and then Nova kind of paralleled it, and then you had crossover
Hmm.
events, the War of Kings, Realm of Kings, was the secret invasion or whatnot, and then uh, so basically I've collected from all those crossover events, and yeah, I've just kind of collected like one piece from a lot of the side stuff, but just kind of connecting that whole era. So I'm kind of like a comic book collector of comic art in the way that I collect. So
Hmm.
I just kind of like collected like, oh, I need one from that run, one from that run, and so yeah.
So had you seen artworks uh, by them by Mog here before you chose to commission them for a piece like this? I mean, what was
Yeah.
because this isn't a small commission. I mean, anything that's going to be painted full color is going to end up being one that's a bit more involved. How confident were you going into it that you were going to get something that would turn out this great?
Uh, I took a shot in the dark, but I saw the Star Wars. I can't remember who had this Star Wars piece, um, but there was a Star Wars piece that I connected with,
Hmm.
and I saw it, and I was like, man, I would love to see that rendition, that take. That I don't know, it's uh, just the style. There's a
Hmm.
style to it, basically, that I wanted, and I thought it would match well with these characters, and I lucked out. It really, surely did.
I really did. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think we have one more. Is that true?
And this is kind of a recent pickup for me. I got a Jack Kirby page, my first Jack Kirby page, and I was really excited to get one. And Inspiroir, and and yeah, so basically I'd always wanted something from Commandy, and I hadn't picked anything up from it. It's one of the few Jack Kirby titles I've read, because I haven't read everything, like I said, but I did actually read the series. And this right here, Dr. Michael, you can see right there, that's the history of Commandy, basically, that kind of talking about why the characters came to be. Oh, thank you, Peter. Uh, Thanks, guys. Yeah. So I'd wanted something from the King comics, and it was about time. I saved for this one. It doesn't have Commandy on it, but I liked the fact that it was the history of why the why the storyline came about. And that, like I said, I'm a history collector, and it has a little crackle down there at the bottom. I'm like, oh,
It
I get
does. I was just gonna say the same thing. It's like, there's no Kirby pages complete without a little bit of crackle, and you got that. I mean, and Commandy, for me is I have never owned a page from Commandy, but every page I see from that run, I really really love. I mean, it just Royer's inks on it are so nice. I mean, when you just look at all the line work here, that's what you think about when you think about Kirby. It just uh very highly textured, but I mean the crackle just makes this complete. And it's funny, you like you mentioned, it's historical too. So as a piece, it just kind of fits perfectly into your collection of having pieces that are, there's some significance to the piece that isn't just the artwork or the storyline. But I admit, I mean, although I only read a few issues of Commandy, every time I see a page two, I always look twice, thinking, maybe this is the time I'll pick up another Kirby, right? Because the DC Kirby, especially from like Commandy and some of the New God stuff, is still kind of, yeah, if you want to call it affordable, it is what it is, right? But if I want to buy a nice Thor Kirby, it's going to cost me an arm and a leg. And if I want to buy a nice Kirby X-Men page, it's going to cost me even more than that, Marcus. but yeah, I know. Every time I see stuff like this, I love it. I love it. Royers inks over Kirby a lot.
So,
Um,
so the
so
other thing, which was really fun, was right after I picked this up, I'm going to I there was a con here basically in town,
mhm.
and the Kirby Museum came over and they did a whole thing on Commandy, and they had and it was funny because the guys from the Kirby Museum were saying that that was the first time they'd seen it had such a big screen at this venue. He's like, I'm presenting this, but I've actually never seen these pages blown up this big. And I was like, it's perfect. Right after I buy this, I get to see it. You know, this was, I think they were doing the issue right before this one, and I was like,
Right.
oh, I got one. Yeah. And so they're showing off the art to it. I was like, I just picked one up from that. It's kind of fun.
No, no, you did really well with this one. Now, was it at auction or?
No, this one came from one of the dealers. So this was a
Oh,
dealer page. Yeah.
cool. Well, I mean, that's you don't have to fret about overpaying if you know what you get the one you want. No, that's great. Well, congrats on that. I mean, but you're not done. I mean, you're not showing us this saying that you are now departing from collecting Guardians artwork, or are you? You're more selective now because you feel like you've got an example piece from most of the runs and teams
Yeah.
that you were looking for.
Yeah, I've got a lot of modern art. I mean, I could go down that whole rabbit hole of collecting all the
Hmm.
titles that they do in the modern era. I just don't know that I want to go in that rabbit hole. So, if I see a piece that sings to me, I'll pick it up. But other than that, I'm still looking for 5 pieces from my era.
Hmm.
That's about it. There's only about 5. I've picked up most of them.
Nothing wrong with that. Well, see, then you've accomplished a lot in, the 6 years or so that you've been collecting. That's not a lot of people can say that. So at least you got to focus. You focused in early. I mean, do you have a list? I mean, we've talked about that on the last couple shows where some collectors have said, they made a list of exactly, like what things they were looking for. Did you do that, or was it more of a mental list that you knew what you
It
were
is a
looking for?
mental
Yeah.
list, but I know the pages like I mean, I could even say them. I don't really care. There's a Nebula page there's only one of my era that was written by Keith Giffen. I can't find it anywhere. So maybe he finds that one and let me know.
Well, there you
She,
go. See,
she didn't,
we can put a shout out like that, right?
yeah,
Say here's if the piece
yeah.
exists.
So
So it's
that,
not on cap.
no, it's not on CAF. I can't find it. It's Nebula only was in, I think, like 14 pages no, sorry, in a couple of issues for 14 years. So Nebula is gone during this whole era. Other than these couple of pages, I've gotten her outside of the writing of Keith Giffen, but I had this like weird thing where I wanted to collect the ones where that stayed in that main arc. And so there's that one that I was looking, and then there's the first time Star Lord actually meets Gamora. I don't have that one. That one's somewhere out there, but yeah, there's a couple of them.
Well, if anybody knows where they are, you can easily find Ian on his through his CAF Gallery. I don't know if I have the link still shared. Yeah, I do. I still have my copy paste. So I put it back in the chat, and it's in the show description, everyone. So if you have one of those pages that you think Ian might be are on his list, you can always reach out and let him know about it. But Ian, this is awesome. So you are coming back to OAX, right, in February?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely coming back. Got a room. Got to hang out again. Eat a lot of zingers.
I'm gonna experience my first zingers. I didn't, I guess they're just chicken nuggets of some kind, but they're special, right? It must be the dipping sauces or something. I have no idea, but I missed out on that.
Yeah, yeah, they're delicious and fun. It's just being with friends and drinking a lot of ginger beer because I don't drink alcohol. So. I float
Ginger.
on ginger beer.
I enjoy ginger beer as well. Well, I can tell you that I know that Kazra flashed the business card of the manager there at the restaurant. So we are going to definitely talk to the Millers people very soon about making sure that we have our spaces reserved and things. And yeah, I mean, I guess we're close to like 80 days out now, but yeah, we're at that point now where
Yeah.
it's talking when we're talking to the restaurants and looking at menus and things and probably finding out if we can get drink tickets again or whatever the heck else they might want. Yeah, it's fun. Um, let's see. They're more like chicken digits, says CJ. I don't know. Well, it'll be my first experience. I have no idea, but if I know that if I hang around Jeff Wedding enough, he'll make sure that I get to sample all the the full variety of them all.
Hot garlic.
And, yeah, but Ian, again, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the mystery sketches arrive, and so you'll probably see some get unboxed on Thursday as well. But I know with definitely with Mark Hay coming back, he's probably got. I know that he got some of yours too. So yeah, you're gonna
Awesome.
be you're gonna have a lot. You got at least 35 more coming in, I believe. So keep us updated. Post them to your CAF when you can. But definitely, I want to see the final frame job. I think that's going to be kind of the cool ending to the whole thing is getting them all in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm we just we appreciate you supported a lot of artists, and it was tough to get them all around to do as many artists as we could because of the timing when they came in. I had filled up a couple art teams lists already. I was like, oh shoot, I can't move them around, but I did my best. And some artists were like, hey, I've got this guy twice. Should I? What do you want me to do? I'm like, well, do them. If you like the characters, do them. And and one guy was like, but I don't want him to think he got ripped off by getting me twice. I had one guy say that, and I'm like, if you want to trade one out, I'm cool with that. But it was nice seeing like the artists were they didn't know who you were,
Yeah.
but they were like, I didn't want you to be disappointed that you weren't getting like one from every artist or something. So it's fun. I mean, that's why the mystery sketch is so enjoyable because I think that everybody puts it. They have a little extra care and thought into it into their work. So anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing how all 57 shake out at the end of the day.
I'm happy to hear I got some from Ian in there. Ian to Ian.
That's right. Uh, that's Mr. Cinco did some very, very awesome pieces for this last one too. So I know Ian will be back in May to do mystery sketches again. But Ian, as always, man, it's great to get to have you both support everything that we've been doing around here and to have CAF doing good things for you as well. I mean, I think that's kind of what it's all about. Like you said, community, friendship. All of this is what makes us a happy community here at Comic Art Fans. So listen, everybody in the chat, thank you for hanging out with us. This was was a long overdue chat with Ian, but we got it in the books, and if you're going to OEX, you'll see Ian in February. Otherwise, yeah, you'll see him on CAF. But Ian, any last parting words for everybody before we close out the show tonight?
I am Groot.
I love it. I think that's going to be a clip I'm going to pass over to Matt Sarda so he can put it on our socials.
Yeah.
All right. So everybody have a wonderful evening. We'll be back at it again tomorrow I got a show with Mike Berkey at 9:00 tomorrow. So you get to see that. But don't forget 8:00 on Thursday, we will have a special 1-hour show doing the unboxing of the final set of mystery sketches from Next Comic Art 2. That was just added to the schedule. So make sure you tune in for that. Good night, everybody.
All right. Take care.